What we talked about last week, tonight I want to talk to you some more about definitions. And as usual, I have my trusty Mega Dictionary here. It's a hollow dictionary. It's just a model. It's only a model. But tonight I want to talk to you about not just the definition, but last week I told you we're going to talk about two things in the next couple of weeks, and this week we're going to talk about more of the definition of the world, how the world defines you. So when I'm talking, I think, if y'all don't mind, there's that box of pencils back there, Miss Melissa, has, and Eric has some papers and some pencils. We're going to do a little exercise. Possibly imagine it. It holds every single word that you can think of, and every word has a definition. And last week I even told you that some of the words, that even the word definition has a definition. That there's a definition for everything under the sun. That there is, even when you try not to define something, it's still being defined. I know that something gives me kind of a headache when I think about it. Respectful of the time that we give you, respectful of the time that God. I find out, I've done a lot of research on this, and I've looked at this. These 3 years of your life, that you're in middle school, or 3 years you try to decide exactly who you are when you enter high school, when you go to college. You'll decide within the next 3 years kind of exactly where you're going to be. But right now, it's a big puddle of confusion. It's a big puddle of just everything. You don't know what I am, who I am. There's no true definition for who you are. Find you a partner right next to you. You, it may have hurt some of your feelings, it may have made you feel good about yourself. It gives you kind of a glimpse. It gives you a glimpse of what other people think about you, what other people see, how the world defines you, how you're defined by, not by God, not by yourself, but by the world. Sometimes it's a negative, sometimes it's a positive, but it opens your eyes to realize that the definition that you thought you had of yourself, the way you thought you saw yourself, may be completely wrong. Someone else says you acted like this. You can tell you the cool part about that, guys? If you really want to look at it, that's what the world does. That's how the world defines you. Not just how your friends decide to define you. That's how other people. They want to make. Now you're thinking in your mind, maybe I'm more like what they said. Maybe I'm acting more like they said. Maybe that's how I act. And the world's trying to tell me to act that way from now on. From now on, if it said that I was a mean person, then I'm a mean person. If it said I'm a nice person, then it means I'm a nice person. If it said I'm a talkative person, that means I'm a talkative person. You're basing yourself now on that sheet of paper. You realize now that that sheet of paper that's under your seat, that you got from your friends, is running your life. Because the definition that you read that someone else gave to try to change who you thought you were. Now that you're running around with confusion, and that's the thing. You think you're so confused, and you think, I don't know who I am, I don't know where I am, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know this, I don't know that. In middle school, that's fine, it's perfect. But you still have some definition, of some vision of how you think you act. But then someone else comes along and says, you're mean. Or you're stupid. Or you don't dress right, or you don't talk to the right people, or you don't do this, and you change the definition of yourself because of what they say. You just let that piece of paper that you had in your hand run your life. Some of you are so passing notes with it and letting it run your life right now. Definitions of the world will put you in a certain position. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight, and it's going to kind of jump around, but when I was in middle school, we had different kind of cliques. How many of you know what a clique is? Okay. When I was in middle school, I wrote down today a couple of them. When I was in middle school, there were preps, there were the jocks, there were skaters, and there were the nerdy guys. When I was in middle school, I was sort of like, I don't know, I'd say I was a preppy nerd. I wasn't really most popular guy in school, but I wasn't the most dorky. I was just in that middle range. But you know what? You know what defined that for me? You know why I decided that? I looked around at all the different cliques, and then I decided this is how I want to fit. And I started listening to my friends. And they started telling me stuff like, you're not wearing the right shoes. So I'd go to the mall and buy the right shoes. They say, you're not reading the right stuff. I'd go buy the books they're talking about. They would say, you're not playing the right games. Nintendo, well, we had them with Game Boy. It was about that big and it was a piece of brick. But you can get them at the flea market now for like $10. But listen, you're not wearing the right shirt. You're not hanging out. You're not watching the right TV shows. You can't, And then I tried to mold myself. I tried to take the definition that they had of a prep and put it on me. I went and shopped at Abercrombie. Abercrombie at one time was a pretty decent store. Now it's a naked store. I don't really like it that much anymore. There's a Christian attitude to it now. I used to shop. Listen. Now I will admit, American Eagle was always my favorite store. It'll always be my favorite store. I love shopping at American Eagle. This is actually not American Eagle. It's Old Navy, but I like it. I would save my money and buy the clothes. I would do things. I would go places because that's who they define as a prep. That's what they define. If I went there, they hung out with me. They talked to me because I changed the definition of who I really was to fit that character. And there's some of you here tonight. I know it will. You know the funny part? Like I said, we had different social cliques. The preps hated the preps step away. Would not talk to a skater. Would not see a skater, would not be anywhere associated with a skater. And a skater at that time was a little bit different than what I think a skater is now. A skater at that time was someone they wore a trench coat all the way down. They almost had kind of a gothic look to them, but they were a little more scary, but they weren't quite. They listened to a bunch of like music that came out of Seattle called grunge music. Did you ever do some research back on it? I'm giving y'all guys a history lesson. It's scary. This is what's so scary. I'm giving you a history lesson of 10 years ago. But I'm giving you a history lesson of how I was. But here's the fun part. Listen. Here's the fun part. Once I got into that and once I stuck with that, I kept it all the way through high school. I still went and shopped at those stores. I still acted that way. I still was a part of that group. And you know what's so funny about it was? I realized there were things I was doing that I didn't like. And I would make fun of people. I wouldn't talk to certain people that I used to talk to. I wouldn't be associated with those people anymore because I was a prep. I was preppy. Preppy, really. I have to show you a picture.
Oh, gosh.
So listen. I changed the definition. It wasn't until I got into college when I realized that maybe I need to change who I am. But you know what's so funny about that? In college, I felt it too. Joined the fraternity, did all the fraternity stuff. I thought that was me. But you know what? It didn't take me until... Yes, Carlos? Because that's the way it was then. Preps would say you're not wearing the right clothes. Guys,